We're going to be looking at a couple of deck lists that got the chance to shine out of the past week before the ban list that pretty much perfectly transition into post-ban list material. So if these are ideas that you want to try, I think that you should give these a shot. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. The first deck list we're going to be looking at here, this was a regional first place list. Now this ended up smashing down an entire event full of Spright and tier, locking down and showing the world that, hey, Super Poly's good. As you see, there's nothing in this deck that's illegal post list. The thing that made this deck really good, though, was branded Expulsion, which gave you access to Scythe, because you could branded Fusion, drop the Scythe, set up the Expulsion here, go ahead and rotate, revive the Scythe, and Scythe lock your opponent in none other than, you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, your Despia deck. All right, so I know a lot of people are going to be like, really? You can do this? Yes, you can. So we have one copy of Ablidium, one copy of Albion, triple copies of Aluber. We have one copy of Scythe, two copies of Tragedy, one copy of Dramaturge, two copies of Edgemp Chain, triple Fallen of Albaz, the one Spriggan's Kit, triple copies of Lower Darkness, triple copies of Branded Fusion, two Branded in Red, triple copies of Branded Opening, one Called by the Grave, triple Dark Willow No More, one Foolish Braille, two Patchworks, one Harpies for the Duster, two Polymerizations. This card Guardian Chimera is pretty good. We have triple Super Polymerization, one Branded Banishment, and one good old Branded Expulsion. Extra deck we have one Starving Venom, one Dracostapelia, one Mirjade, two copies of Masquerade, two Lubellions, one Guardian Chimera, one Garuda, one Quart Artist, one Proskinian. Actually, surprised to see Proskinian getting some love. And then we have triple Albion. Side deck here, triple Deity Crow, one Pinkertops, two copies of Kurikara, the Divine Karate, triple copies of Twin Twisters, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and triple copies of There Can Only Be One here. Wrapping up the Despia first place list out of its regional. I do wholeheartedly think that a deck like this can still do well. Like, especially like this tearing through things this early on really mattered all that much. Now, out of the same region was a second place list. The thing we're missing down here in the side deck is going to be the Red Reboot. All right, I mean, that's perfectly interchangeable. You have no reason to, not be able to adjust and cut that out. And that's what I once again wanted to show you here. You've already got two Mystic Minds in the main deck. If you're really worried about something like that, maybe something else in the spell and trap department to like blow out some sort of trap card, maybe Lightning Storm I think would be bad. Maybe you want to side the other Mystic Mind. You once again have option trees to replace within this, all right? So we have two copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, two copies of Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, triple copies of Incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous, triple copies of Mo Yi, two copies of Taie, triple copies of Long Dong, two Arara, triple copies of Ashuna, one Synthon. I still love the fact that this card still sees play. We have triple copies of Vishuda, one Called by the Grave, triple copies of the Forbidden Droplet, one Harpies Feather Duster, two copies of Heavenly Dragon Cycle. This card's still really good. This, I think, Vessel fell off, but I still think that there is value in this. We have two copies of Mystic Mind, two copies of Pot of Desires, triple copies of Swordsoul Emergence, one Talents, with triple copies of Imperm, and one good old Blackout. Extra deck here, you have one Shaman, triple Monk, one Yazi, one Chang Ying, one copy of the Qing Zing Long Yun, of course, two Cheese Out, which was pretty standard. You actually have the Psychic End Punisher, which actually comes up as an option tree for this deck, one Omega, one Draco Berserker, two copies of Boxia, and the good Baron de Fleur. We have one Pinkertops, two Divine Karates, again. All right, like you are getting a lot of mileage out of these Divine Karates. Two Nibiru's, two Cosmics, triple Dimensional Barrier, two Evenly Matched, and two copies of Reverie of the Warlords. Wrapping up your second place list. You can put in a third Reverie of Warlords if you really want to. Next up here, we have good old Mathmech Circular. Full combo Frienderini. This deck is so busted. This was an OTS Championship second place list here. Now, as you see, nothing really changes on this Mathmech list. You are 100% ready to play the game right now, and that's basically what you want to see, right? Like, you don't even have to worry about changing anything. That's what makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Like a really good game. Is like, even post-ban list, one of the best decks in the room, nothing really changed, all right? So we have triple copies of Ash of Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 copies of DD Kra. We have 2 Effect Veilers, 2 Ghost Ogres, triple copies of Addition, triple copies of Mathmech Circular, triple copies of Diameter, 1 Nabla, 2 copies of good old Sigma, triple copies of Subtraction, 2 copies of the Space Rock, 2 Crossout Designators, of course triple copies of Silent Mining because still best searcher in the deck, 1 Equation, 2 copies of Pod Desires, triple copies of Small World, 2 Infinite Permanents, and then we still have two Super Factorial. Do keep in mind that your biggest argument for this deck is how many Super Factorial you want to play. Do you want to play 2 or 1, alright? Do you want a main deck induction, side induction? Like, that's really as crazy as it gets. Then we have 1 Rivalry of the Warlords. Then we have 1 Update Jammer, 1 Transcode Talker, 1 Splash Mage, 1 Link Disciple, 1 Link Devotee, 1 Lingaribo, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Heat Soul, 1 Cyber's Wick Kid, 1 Apo, 1 Access Code, 2 Laplace, and 2 copies of Alan Bershin. Side deck here is 2 Lava Golems, 2 Cosmic Cyclones, triple copies of Hadoken, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, triple copies of Evenly Matched. There's your extra Rivalry of the Warlords you came here for. Then we have 2 copies of Shadow Imprisoning Mirror here, wrapping up your Mathmech, very scary deck. Alright, trust me on this, when this deck goes, I cry every time. Like, really. Next up is Drytron. Now, the biggest change for this, once again, is down here in your last slot, which, you guessed it, is everybody's favorite red reboot, ladies and gentlemen. So, do keep in mind that at the end of the day, you kind of just filter this out, and you're good to go. Alright? Finding something to stop traps will probably be, like, the biggest innovation for this deck. So, we have 1 Diviner of the Heralds, triple copies of Alpha Thuban, triple copies of Delta Altias, triple copies of Gamma Altanin, triple copies of Albaya, 1 copy of the Kiyoshi Sakil and Lila, 1 Vanity's Ruler, we got 2 copies of Ben 10, 1 Natasha, 1 Draconis itself, we have triple copies of Cyber Emergency, triple copies of Hadoken, 1 Fafnir, triple copies of Nova, 1 Foolish Burial, your triple copies of Forbidden Droplet, 1 Metania's Drytron, triple Super Poly, and triple copies of Ultimate Slayer. This deck is so tacked out for the matchups. You're on 3, 6, 9, 12 board breakers that you want to be able to smash through the opponent's amazingly toxic board. Like, okay, I get it. You want to win the game. We have 1 Link Rebo, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Troubled Sunny, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Apo, 1 2 Mubeta Fafnirs, 1 copy of the Downer Magician, 1 Zeus. We're actually playing 1 Maple Maiden here. 1 Tuner. If this card is special, declare an attribute. That's interesting. You can target 1 monster, your opponent's main monsters, and your opponent must send 1 card from among the adjacent zones or spawn trap cards to the graveyard. That's interesting. We have 1 Herald, 1 Baron, 1 Mudmud, 1 Godarla, and we have 1 copy of Garuda. Side deck here, we have 1 Lancia, 2 Divine Karates, 2 Ripple Lava Golem, triple Spell Canceller, 1 Draco Stabilia, triple copies of Cosmic Cyclone, and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster here, wrapping up our run-through for Drytron. And the last we have here is a Spright list. Once again, everybody's favorite red reboot down here, really messing up so many of these things. So it's actually where you take like your Spright package and you can just smash it on into an existing Tri-Brigade package. This ended up winning the tournament that Drytron board breaker deck that you just saw ended up getting top 4 at. So we have triple copies of DD Crow, triple copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. We got triple copies of Space Rock. We got 1 blue, 1 carrot, 1 jet, and 1 red. Man, these Power Rangers have the weirdest, like, color schemes. Go Power Ranger Carrot. We have triple copies of Fractal, 2 Karis, triple Kit, triple copies of Nerval, 2 copies of Griffin Rider, triple copies of Water Enchantress with 1 Called by the Grave, 1 Draco Back, 1 Faithful Adventure, 1 Foolish Barrow, triple copies of Rite of Armesier, triple copies of Spright Starter, triple Impermanent, of course, the best arguable card in your deck being good old Revolt. Down here in the extra deck, we got triple Shurag, 1 copy of Rugal, 1 Frigette, 1 Bear Broom, 2 copies of Spright Elf. Yeah, I can actually make this. We have 1 Nightmare Unicorn with 1 Harvest Ginger, 1 Dahark, 1 Apo, 1 Ancient Warrior, we have 1 Access Code, and 1 copy of Gigantic Spright. And then we have 1 Pankratops, 1 Air Hummingbird, 1 Change of Heart with 2 Cosmic Cyclone, triple Lightning Storm, triple Anti-Spell Fragrance, and triple copies of the Harpy's Featherstorm, because why would you not want to take advantage of the absolute best good stuff you can put into your deck. So this wraps up some interesting decks that you can find success with for this new format. Please leave a comment about what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back there in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.